welcome everybody here for the first time at 10:30. Yay! And also those of you joining us on live stream, we're so happy you're here. It's been my tradition over this last many months of offering a gratitude, because gratitude is a practice that can open us to the mystery of the ordinary. So here we are, and I'm grateful for our community, for members new and seasoned who have come together over and over again to support one another. We had an experience of that yesterday. We have a member who is having a really difficult health journey right now, and had all this wood that needed to be stacked. And a bunch of us came together and stacked that wood for that person. It was so fun. Human chain, passing logs. And that spirit of support is what this is all about, and I'm so grateful for support near and far. Right now I'm going to take you to our music director, Amber Darlin, so that we can start with some music.
Well, good morning, everyone, wherever you're tuning in from, or you're sitting right there in our sanctuary. We're so glad you're here. So do we come together as one. So do we come together in love. So do we come together as one. So do we come together in love. Set your fear down to the side, come together as one. Lift your hearts up to the sky, come together in love. So do we come together as one. So do we come together in love. Sing that again. So do we come together as one. So do we come together in love. You have traveled long and far, come together as one. We are good enough just as we are, come together in love. So do we come together as one. So do we come together in love. One more time. So do we come together as one. So do we come together in love. Yes, we're so glad we're all together this morning. Let's sing My Soul is Welcome Here. And if you're on social media, this is a great time to let people know where you're tuning in from and say hello to your spiritual community. Or if you're at the sanctuary, give a wave, give a hug if you can, and say hello. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. I I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. 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 Yes, indeed. All right, well, we're going to move on over to our practitioner of the day for a prayer.
Am I there? Oh, I am. I can see myself over there. Good morning and welcome to the first Sunday 10:30 service live. I'm so glad to be here. Please silence your cell phones if they're not already. So please join me in an opening invocational prayer. I'm going to speak this in the first person, and if you want this prayer, just say yes. So please join me. Let's take a deep breath in. Hold it for a second. And let it out. We humans have so many ways of connecting to that one spirit, that one mind. The gentle rain that's coming down. The trees. Prayer. Listening to Amber sing. Community. So many different ways. It doesn't matter, no matter what way we connect. I know that energy is always there, every time, every place, no matter what. Even at those moments where we're not consciously connecting, that energy is there, flowing around us, through us, everywhere. I am, you are, we are divine humans, a great, fabulous idea in the mind of spirit. I'm here to learn, to refresh, to be in community, to laugh, and to listen to what Dr. Andrea has to say today. I know that I will take my full connection to the divine and lean in to the heart learning that will come from her talking about discomfort, pain. We will learn how to lean into that. I am so grateful, so happy to be here with you all, and to know that our words, our deeds, our thoughts, our learnings, everything goes out into the world in so many different ways. I'm grateful to be here. I release these words, and so it is. And
Thank you, Deb. Oh, let me feel inner peace from my center, from the center of me. Oh, let me feel inner peace from my center, from the center of me. Let's sing that again together. Oh, let me feel inner peace from my center, from the center of me. Oh, let me feel inner peace from my center, from the center of me. My heart is open. My heart is open. awake, there is a knowing of love, love, love. My heart is open, I am awake, there is a knowing of love, love, love. Oh, let me feel inner peace from my center, from the center of me. My heart is open. My heart is open, I am awake, there is a knowing of love, love, love. My heart is open, I am awake, there is a knowing of love, love, love. Oh, let me feel inner peace from my center, from the center of me. So sacred, so secret, so precious, this love. 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 I will share, 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 this love. So sacred, so secret, so precious, this love. So sacred, so secret, so precious, this love. I will share, 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 this love. I will share, 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 this love. So sacred, so secret, so precious, this love, so sacred, so secret, so precious, this love.
As little as only $1.19 for 90.
Thank you, Amber. Thank you, Deb. Beautiful. I just have to report to everybody who's listening that's not in the room how incredibly joyful I feel right now. For those of you not here, just to hear people singing in harmony in the room, to hear so many voices. It's just really exciting. You learn to appreciate the simple things after a pandemic. Plagues have a way of changing us. So today I'm speaking about leaning into the discomfort, which actually comes from a quote from Brené Brown that goes like this: I spent a lot of years trying to outrun or outsmart vulnerability by making things concrete, certain, and definite, black and white, good and bad. My inability to lean into the discomfort of vulnerability limited the fullness of the important experiences that are wrought with uncertainty. Things like love, belonging, trust, joy, and creativity, just to name a few. So I wanted to talk about leaning into the discomfort as a way of really inviting us to let our life speak, which is the theme for our month. And I've brought you a story. Would you like to hear it? Yes. I get to hear people say yes. I know people have been saying it. This one is from a Taoist teacher that has been a favorite of mine for many years. His name is William Martin, and it's called Get Out of the Boat. A man once came to a holy woman seeking a way to find forgiveness for his terrible mistakes. She instructed him to go to a nearby lake where he would find a boat. He was to get into the boat and row across the lake. On the other side, he would find a beach, and just beyond the beach, he would find the forgiveness he sought. He did as the holy woman instructed. When he got to the lake, he found it larger and more forbidding than he had expected. He couldn't see the other side. But the boat was solid, comfortable, and loaded with provisions, so he got in and began to row. He rowed all day long, and just as night was falling, he finally came to the far shore. There was indeed a small beach there, but beyond the beach lay a forest, dark and dense. He was not going to go there at night, so he stayed in the boat just offshore. When morning came, he was disappointed to see that the beach seemed even smaller and less hospitable than he remembered it from the night before. The forest seemed even more forbidding as well. He sat all day in the boat, wondering what to do. Finally, he decided to ask the holy woman for instructions. He rowed back across the lake and walked back to the holy woman's lodgings. I saw no forgiveness on that shore. All I saw was a small beach and a dark forest, he whined. What should I do? You have to get out of the boat, she shouted. The man went off to find another person who might be able to help him find the forgiveness he was so eagerly seeking. So there's the problem in a nutshell, is there are many ways to lean into whatever discomfort our life is asking us to move with. It could be change of any sort. It could be fear. It could be taking the next right step. It doesn't matter. The heart of the matter is we have to get out of the boat. We have to actually do the work. We can do all kinds of studying to prepare to do whatever it is that the change is asking us to do. But if we don't actually do the change, nothing changes, right? I mean, it's so obvious. And so for me, of course, this goes to the heart of what gets in the way of listening to our life speak to us. Because here in our tradition, in the science of mind philosophy, we actually do understand and believe that there is an indwelling presence that is fully present, not sort of spread out through the universe, but actually pinpointed within each and every one of us. And that presence is the universal intelligence that knows everything that ever has been and ever will be, and anything in between. And because it's pinpointed within us, seeking expression through us, we understand that we've been gifted with this vast wisdom that can lead us forward into anything that our heart desires. And so our life speaking to us is often about our heart's desire, that sometimes we submerge and choose to live in the safe, smaller world that we've created up to this point. So my curiosity has always been in myself and others, this resistance to change. It's a curious thing. Here we have this onboard wisdom going on, knows exactly how to get us to where our heart's desiring would like us to be, and we resist that. And it's like, well, are sacred humans just stupid? From time to time, I have thought that in the last few years. But no, I don't think we're stupid. I think there's something else operating. And, I'm sure that you have heard the famous Anais Nin quote about the rose. Let me read it to you just to remind you. And then the day came when the risk to open, when the risk to remain tight in a bud was more painful than the risk to bloom. Right? I'm sure you've heard that. And that too is about, okay, there's this place that we resist sometimes. And it has to get painful enough for some of us that we actually are going to take that step, move in that direction, get out of the boat, finally. So my interest is in, okay, how can I use spiritual principle to get out of the boat right away so that I'm not suffering, so that the pain of staying tight in the bud is not happening. I'm allowing things to blossom. And, Mark Nepo told a story that I had never heard. Maybe you knew this, but he was talking about florists. He's quite an interesting man. And he was talking about how when roses come to a florist, they look for these particular kind of roses that they call bullets. And they call them bullets because there are certain roses that simply will never open, ever. They're so, they've grown so tightly into themselves that the impetus to grow can't make its way out. And I thought, wow, I didn't know that. I've certainly had a few of those roses in bouquets where they just sort of stay there and then fall off the stem, never having opened. And I thought, well, that's kind of an analogy as well for us. That growing so tightly inward that we can't allow the blossoming that I believe is a natural part of our journey to happen. So as I was looking at resistance, I was looking at, how do we lean into that? How do we lean into the resistance that may visit us from time to time? And what would that feel like or be like? And I was thinking about actually the founder of this philosophy, Ernest Holmes. And Ernest Holmes was my height, so he was 5'2". And he was, and because of that, he was often overlooked because he was short. And so he didn't appear to be important. And so what he learned to do is he learned to actually bring himself out with his voice. And so he would be in a situation where he was in this sort of disregarded spot, and he would begin to speak. And the voice that he had cultivated was very dynamic for the time. It would be silly for us now because it was part of a way that radio and television, as it came into being, people talked. Maybe you'll remember that, some of you who are old enough, where it's like, there is a power in the universe and you can use it, was kind of his leading line. And he talked like that. And so it definitely was an attention grabber. And so people would, notice this man, and then he would be able to give his gift. And I was thinking, the resistance would come in if he had not found his voice. If that man had not found his voice and resisted the need to bring it forward, he would never have created a philosophy that many of us find life-changing. And so I took that and I thought about the places in my own livingness where I have been called in the past and am being called now, to ask myself the question, is there an analogy to the bullet roses? Is there an analogy to the man sitting in the boat refusing to get out? Is there an analogy to Ernest Holmes finding his voice? Can I find that in myself? And I'm asking you the same question. And so let's take it one by one. Let's take the bullet roses first. Now, how would that apply to us resisting our own growth? When I see that show up in my own life, I can't speak for you, but maybe this will apply. It's places in my life where I have an internal dialogue that is full of judgment of myself. So I've tightly wound myself into judgments about all kinds of stuff, you name it, right? And because of that self-judgment, I have created a resistance to actually being something different. And in psychological terms, that's called a thought distortion. I've distorted my thinking to believe something about myself that isn't necessarily true, but I believe it wholeheartedly, and so I've stopped allowing myself to express in that area. So how do we change that? From our tradition, from our philosophy, we change it by actually affirming the opposite. We actually take whatever the distortion is, the idea that we've embodied as a judgment of ourselves, and I guess it would apply to other people too, wouldn't it? And we begin to affirm the opposite. We begin to encounter thoughts that might be equally true at some point. Because, of course, when you're caught in a distortion like that, you can't believe that there's anything possible other than what you're expressing. So you actually invite the thought and you begin to work with it. That's how we do it spiritually. We work with these things until they become not just an idea, but they actually begin to take form, and we are allowing ourselves to unfurl like a rose that doesn't have that tight wound beingness. So in recovery circles, this is called act as if. Act as if it's so. So you begin to embrace an idea that your mind, your egoic mind, says is not possible, it's not true, there's no way out, this is just the way it is, and you embrace a bigger idea until it actually comes into full form through us, and we become willing to flower. We have the ability to flower because we can actually believe it could happen. Now let's take the boat. Get out of the boat. This is actually very, very common as well as a way of resisting growth. And how do we lean into the discomfort of looking out from our comfortable spot at where we're being called, and it's mysterious, and it's not necessarily bright and shiny. It's more like the unknown, and it can look kind of, for that man, it looked forbidding and kind of dark and dense. And sometimes we're called into an expression where it's not just going to be all like that. It's going to be wonderful. Instead, we're called to explore areas in our own life, in our own path, that are not that easy. I'm thinking in particular, like the man, issues of forgiveness. And it's way easier to sit in the boat. It's way easier to stay in the discomfort of security, even if it's uncomfortable, than to actually probe the depths of what would need to occur in order for forgiveness and other things like that to happen. In my own journeys in forgiveness, I have encountered the darker parts of my own nature and have had to really work with those, and continue to work with those, and I don't know about you, but for me, when I first started forgiveness work, I thought it would be kind of one and done. Did you have that? I'm not the only one, right? And so I was like, okay, I'm doing this. And that's like the guy rowing the boat. Okay, I'm doing this. And you get there and you go, I'm not doing this. Because there's a whole lot to this that I didn't even actually know I was going to encounter. I'm going to back row. I'm going to go back. So it's not just forgiveness, but it's any place where we're actually being called by our life to heal, to grow, to evolve a particular place that hasn't had the opportunity to evolve. And we can sit in the discomfort of the comfort, or we can move forward. And spiritual practices, all of them, you name your favorite, are designed to help us move forward and to be witness to the fact that we have hesitancy and to move anyway. So you name your favorite practice. That's going to help you to be present, helps me to be present with the hesitation, the resistance, and then to move beyond it, because it's growth, right? I had a teacher once who she embroidered. And so she'd embroidered, I'm doing this because it was a huge embroidery in her office. And it was an embroidery of carrots. And it was like, here's the level of the ground. And you could see the carrots in the earth with their tops up above. And then she had embroidered a saying underneath. And it said, carrots don't scream when they grow. And so I asked her about that, and I'm like, okay, that's an interesting thing to have in your office. And she said, well, I counsel a lot of people. Think about that. And she said, and the thing is, growth is actually never painful. It's the resistance to growth that's painful. And so the guy in the boat is a perfect example of resisting what he so desperately wanted. We do that. So doing practices that allow growth to unfold and unfurl, and allow us to kind of see when we might be hesitating, is powerful medicine. Let's see, so we had the bullet and we had the boat. There was another one, but I'm not remembering what it was. So instead, what I'll talk about is, I'm thinking about what Mark Nepo said, because I think it was in there. So what I'll say instead is that, why would we move forward? That's the other thing that will propel us out of resistance. And we are propelled forward by a presence and a knowing. And what calls us out is actually the part of our nature that knows beyond our conscious mind that we were brought here to become. And just like the plants and the flowers and the other things that are becoming, what we can touch into is the willingness that we have to listen to the becoming and to move in that direction, and allowing it to unfold. What helps us do that? For me, what helps me do that is to begin to witness others in community that are doing that. And to actually take the time to pay attention to how that's unfolding, not only in our community, but in the world. So great teachers of mine have modeled for me the allowing of their willingness to move forward into the mystery, into the green growing edge of their own becoming. And so I look to those teachers and those community members. They're not even like famous people. They're just people who have found the avenue of expression for the willingness to move forward in growth. And so you probably have people like that too. There's a couple hallmarks that I've noticed with the people that I've been witnessing. The first is that they are really feeling this urge, this push, this sense of, I need to be doing something more. I need to be doing something different. So there's an impetus. There's a place of, kind of like in the hero's journey, the hero is being called out into the world. There's a call. It could be a small call or a large call, but it's there as kind of the push to take us across the threshold of how it's been. The second thing I notice about all my friends that have found a way to open to growth without resistance is they are in tune with their next right step. And they don't try to project a way out. They simply, know the next thing to do. And they trust that. And so they take the next step. And sometimes it's a very small step, but they're willing to take it. See, there's the difference. I have noticed, have you, that sometimes I know the next step to do, but my mind gets all lost in the far distant, what will it look like when I finally, And so my friends that have moved with willingness tend to not do that. They have an idea. It's not that they don't, but they tend to stay with taking the next step and then being with that and allowing that to unfurl, and then the next, and allowing that to unfurl in a flower-like way, so that the goal happens, but it's not the focus. The focus is on letting things unfold and being with each step as it does that. And lastly, the people that I've witnessed that are willing to allow growth to happen without resistance, one of the things that they are constantly doing is they are constantly mindfully grateful. And it's such a buzzword. Gratitude is sort of like mindfulness now. It's like, well, you got to practice these things. And that's right. We need to practice those things. And why does gratitude carry us through into growth without resistance? Gratitude is one of those practices that can be practiced in the middle of the darkness. In fact, it's very helpful to have learned how to be grateful so that when the darkness comes, when the dark, dense forest is right there, there's the practice to hold us as we move into those areas that are calling us forward. So gratitude. And so to close today, I thought what I would do is I would share, rather than a prayer from me, a blessing, because blessings are an outpicturing of gratitude for me. And I brought my favorite blessing guy, John O'Donohue. And you know John, right? Yeah. Wonderful, incredible man. Passed away a few years ago. But the words he's left behind are eternal. So this is from his book, Benedictus, and it's called For Longing. So before I read this, I'd like all of you, near and far, to just go inside for just a minute and see if there's a longing in some area. One of the things that happens sometimes is the longing's been there. We haven't known how to let it happen, and so we tamp it down and stop listening. That happened to me recently. And so I know that we have to touch in. So do you have a longing in any area? And as you hold that longing in place, let this blessing be yours. Blessed be the longing that brought you here and quickens your soul with wonder. May you have the courage to listen to the voice of desire that disturbs you when you have settled for something safe. May you have the wisdom to enter generously into your own unease, to discover the new direction your longing wants you to take. May the forms of your belonging in love, creativity, and friendship be equal to the grandeur and the call of your soul. May the one you long for you. May your dreams gradually reveal the destination of your desire. May a secret providence guide your thought and nurture your feeling. May your mind inhabit your life with the sureness with which your body inhabits the world. May your heart never be haunted by ghost structures of old damage. May you come to accept your longing as a divine urgency, and may you know the urgency with which God longs for you. May it be so. May it be so. No more ghost structures. So thank you for joining me. I'm going to switch gears now and tell you a little bit about the announcements. And yeah, thank you. Oh, wow. Oh, yeah. Thank you. Thank you. So we have a couple of things happening that we'd love you to think about if you want to be a part of them. Of course, we're carefully opening, and so many people have asked, well, where to from here? And the true answer is we don't know. We know that whatever comes with the governor's announcement on June 30th about opening or not opening or whatever, that we will continue to practice safety and openness. And so we will gradually unfurl our center as it seems appropriate. So I'm glad you were part of the unfurling today. Our ritual team got together this last Saturday, and we have not gotten to celebrate the solstice, the summer solstice together for, it'll be 2 years. And so we wanted to do something, and we wanted to do it, of course, safely. So what we decided to do is we're going to invite anybody who would like to celebrate on June 20th, which is solstice in our hemisphere, to bring their own picnic. And we will share our meals on the patio past the upper meadow here. We'll have some tables set up. We'd like you to bring a lawn chair if you have one. And we'll have a meal together because in years past, we've had a potluck, and that's just not quite going to happen. And maybe with our crowd, that's probably never going to happen, right? Because we have to tell everybody exactly what's in every single dish. So this way, we avoid that whole thing. So we're going to have a picnic. And then the ritual team has created this lovely ritual around summer solstice that they're going to invite you into. It's going to start at 5 with the picnic, and then we'll move into the ritual and be done by 7 at the very latest. So the 20th. We know some of you are fathers, and so maybe that isn't going to work for you. But if it does, we'd love to invite you to come and be a part of that. Also on June 27th, which is also a Sunday, 2 weeks from now, the practitioners have been presenting for the last 6 months a series on Zoom of the basic principles of the science of mind philosophy, and this is the last one that they're offering. It's called Principles for Successful Living, and it's really kind of a summary of everything they've been presenting, but it's also an opportunity, if you've had to miss the last ones, to come and be a part of a wonderful, interactive, very creative way of sharing the principles that we all seek to manifest in our lives. So the Zoom will be from noon to 1:30 on June the 27th, and it may be our last Zoom. I don't know. We'll see. We're talking about that. And then lastly, wanted to let you know that I did a soul collage workshop with some of you last month, and it was so popular that I've been asked to do another one. So that's happening. It's going to be happening Wednesday, June 30th, from 4 to 6 p.m. here in the sanctuary, or if it's super nice, we'll be out in the upper meadow. Because it's possibly in the sanctuary, we'll be only having registration for 15 people. And we did that last time, and it was beautifully spaced, and we could see everybody, but we also felt very comfortable with the air filtration system and the distancing and the masks that we could create together, share together, but also feel very safe. So if you'd like to do that, you register with the center office by emailing them or calling them, and they'll get you signed up. And lastly, I just wanted to let you know that we have 2 women's retreats this year because we're having smaller retreats. So there's only 24 people at each of the retreats. The first retreat is pretty much full. The second retreat has a few openings. And so if you would like to come, Love to have you be a part of it. My friend Sue, who is our yoga instructor, will be at the first retreat, but can't come to the second. So there'll be a mystery guest who will be coming and sharing some sort of physical spiritual practice with me. And so you're welcome to sign up for that and just email the office or call them and get the scoop. We're coming on up to that. It's going to be, the second retreat is the second full weekend of August. So it's the 13th through the 15th. And love to have you if you can come. Right now we're going to go to Amber. And I'm going to invite you, if you would like, to stand and sing with her. And we'll close our service with some wonderful music. Thank you so much for coming.
Everything in this world goes around, flowing with abundance, it knows no bounds. Giving and receiving, we circulate the love with gratitude and knowing there's always enough. We give thanks, we give thanks, we give thanks with this offering. We give thanks, we give thanks, we give thanks for everything. Everything in this world goes around, flowing with abundance, it knows no bounds. Giving and receiving, we circulate the love with gratitude and knowing there's always enough. We give thanks, we give thanks, we give thanks with this offering. We give thanks, we give thanks, we give thanks for everything. We give thanks, we give thanks, we give thanks with this offering. We give thanks, we give thanks, we give thanks for everything. We give thanks for everything. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, and we hope to see you again soon.